Okay.
Without you anyway.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our city council meeting. Today is Tuesday, March 19th. It is 3:02 p.m., and I call this meeting to order. And if we could have the record reflect that we do have quorum. We would like to move on to agenda item number 2, our invocation and pledge of allegiance. And we will be led by our pledge of allegiance by Councilman Mr. Garza, if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
And we will have our invocation by Deacon Fred Frazier with First Baptist Church. Welcome. Yes. Wait. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, the mic's on.
Hello.
One moment. Okay. There we go.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Welcome.
Dear and gracious Father in heaven, Lord, thank you so much for this day and this opportunity you've given us here today to meet together and make decisions that are going to affect the city. And we ask that when we make these decisions, Lord, we do what you would want us to do. Lord, let us be good stewards of what you have provided for us, Lord Jesus. Lord, we love this town. We love this community. We ask you to bless all first responders, Lord, all city employees, Lord, our children at schools. Jesus, we ask that we be merciful as you have shown us mercy. We ask us to be forgiving as you have forgiven us, Lord Jesus. And Lord, we just thank you so much for this town and the people here. I've been here for 64 years, Lord, and it's home, and it means a lot to me to know I'm going to die in the same town I was born in, Lord. And as we move forward, Lord, let's be smart in our decision making, and let's not let differences of opinions divide our town, Lord. Just let's work in harmony like you would want us to work, Lord, and just we give you praise and glory because you are the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, Lord, and one day we'll stand in judgment of you, Lord, and there's only two people that always know the truth. That's the person who I am and you. I can't sit in darkness and you not know what I'm doing, Lord. So may all our decisions be based on love and understanding and truth, Lord. We love you and we give you praise and glory. Bless this town. Bless the people of it, Lord, and help us to get some of the things done that we need to get done, Lord. May you provide the resources we need as well, Lord. We love you and we give you praise and glory. And these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
You please face the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Deacon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 3, public comments. I don't have anything before me as far as a citizen wishing to address city council. I will move on to our city council members. If you have any comments, Mr. Ventura?
I'd like to welcome everybody today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Mr. Molina?
No comment, just welcome everybody to the meeting today.
As well, welcome everybody. It's a beautiful, blessed morning. I'm sorry, I'm still on morning. Afternoon. Just a quick reminder, Thursday is a World Down Syndrome Day. It's the 21st is always the day that we bring awareness to Down syndrome. So make sure that you guys wear your socks. Ophelia knows. And it's just to bring awareness when you wear those crazy socks, different colors socks. I mean, it's just to bring awareness to Down syndrome, to those special kids, people actually, individuals who are out in this world that who have Down syndrome. They're beautiful, wonderful, special people, and they're part of our community as well. So Thursday, make sure you wear those pretty colorful socks. And other than that, just enjoy your week and thank you all for being here again.
Mr. Knox?
Thank all of y'all for being out here today. It means a lot to all of us and the community. And one thing I'd forgotten to say last council meeting was hats off to the police department. They had come in under budget. So thank you for everybody.
Thank you. And again, I'd like to welcome everyone and everyone out in the community. There's special events coming up. Don't forget the Touch a Truck this Saturday. I believe it starts at 11. There's another downtown merchant that's holding an Easter egg hunt and photos with the bunny rabbit and some other stuff. And it's going to be here at Living by Faith, and then also I believe at the Health Park. And then throughout our community, there's other entities holding events for Easter. So happy Easter to everyone. We wish you many, many blessings, and thank y'all. Thank you for everything y'all do for our community and our city. And moving on to agenda item number 4, presentations. Our item 4.1 is recognition presented to Shriver Office Supply. I would like to thank our councilwoman, Mrs. Sandra Bowen, for bringing this forward. It's such a blessing when we get members of our community that share these things with us, because sometimes we don't know all this that's going on. And what a blessing to have Shriver's Office Supply within our community for 75 years. You've served so many people. So, and at this time, I'll ask council to join me in presenting to Shriver's Office Supply a plaque of recognition and then something special. Thank you, Mrs. You want to read that? Okay. Excuse me.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the city, in recognition of Shriver Office Supply, in honor of 75 years of dedicated service to our community, presented to business owner Sean Holger on this 19th day of March 2024.
Well, if I can say one thing, I was the last captain of the ship. So, my grandfather, John Shriver, my father, Sonny Holscher, and then myself are pleased to close. It was our time to exit, and the city needs to grow, and we need to be behind it in different facets. We will always be here, and we will always support Alice the rest of our lives. Like the deacon, I was born here and I will die here. And with that said, thank you, Ms. Bowen, councilmen and councilwomen, all of y'all. And thank you for all of this. This means so much to us.
We have one other surprise
Oh,
for you.
yeah.
This is on behalf of the city of Alice, for all your contributions, for all your family has done, because I know you've serviced so many industries within our community. Every time I speak to someone, oh yes, that's where we got this, or this is, and, there's a special something that local businesses do that,
Yes.
you go above and beyond to serve. So we want to thank you. I'd like to present you with a key to the city.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so very much. Wow. That's gonna go in the trophy case. Thank y'all so much. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Mayor. Well, this, like I said, my dad's in San Antonio, and he's receiving some treatment for some things. He couldn't be here today. But on behalf of me, the Holscher and the Shriver family, thank you all for 75 years of absolute fun and madness as we did Fair Queens contest and everything else. We enjoyed it and we loved it, and thank you all for allowing us to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you so much. I'll be trying to put it in the car at Starbucks. Thank you, Mr. Elliott. Yes, thank you. More than I could ever ask. Very much. What a pleasure. Thank you so very much. This will go very nicely with the only things I have. So thank you. Thank you guys so very much. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor, for doing
Oh,
that.
thank you for letting us know about it.
Thank you, Sandra.
Yeah. Great job.
Okay, let's see. Okay, next, under presentations, we have 4.2, discussion and presentation by Superintendent Dr. Anissa Trevino with Alice Independent School District. Welcome, Dr. Trevino.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to address you all today. I've never had the pleasure of coming before the city, so thank you, Mayor, thank you, Commissioners, thank you, City Manager, Mr. Esparza, and thank you, members of the audience, for your attention as well on this topic that I will be discussing today. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that good? So my conversation with you all today, because that's what I'd like to call it, a conversation, is to share with you information on the bond that has been called by our local school board. And so I'm here to present facts. And so it was nice to hear the Shriver family talk about the legacy that family has brought to the city. So our stadium that we're currently existing and have been cheering in is 77 years old. So just a little older than the Shriver business. So it was built back in 1947, and the first game played there was on October the 3rd. And on November 7th of that same year, the members of the board and the community decided to name it and dedicate it to the World War II veterans. And so when you go through the archives of all the articles that we found back from 1947, you see the energy and the positiveness that that stadium, as it was being constructed and built, brought to the city. And so we know that it has left a lot of memories, and that stadium, definitely probably a lot of the members around this room have participated in events at the stadium. And I'm sure all of you at one time or another have been there. So back in 2020, the former administration had the insight to evaluate Alice Memorial Stadium. And through that assessment was just received in our office back in October of 2023. So this is about 5-6 months old. And so I'd like to read to you the findings from the international consultant engineer firm that conducted the evaluation. The conclusion reads, as described in this report, the widespread deficiencies found affect the structure in just about every aspect. The 75-year-old structure, because it was a few years ago, right, but it's now 77 years old, is near the end of its service life. It is recommended that the development of a master plan for the stadium facility replacement is initiated. Repairs can be performed to extend the life of current structure, but considering the age of the stadium structure, more frequent repairs and excessive maintenance costs will be the norm, and thus a replacement option is a more desirable solution. And so what they expressed to us is we could try to put some Band-Aids out there for the cost of anywhere from $2.5 million to $5 million, but we'll have to be doing that quite often as opposed to fixing it all at one time. And so if we fix one piece, then other pieces need fixing in the process. And so we have invited the community, and we certainly want to invite you all as well, and anyone out there listening, if you have not visited the stadium, to please take a tour of the stadium, of the facilities, so people can see for themselves why this bond was initiated. And so 9 tours have taken place throughout the month of February, and we will continue those in April. And we had 226 visitors attend those tours to see for themselves. This is a decision that the community will make when they vote on May the 4th. So we want them to have the information available, and we want them to see for themselves what they are voting on. These are just some slides of tours and members that participated in the tours. We even had children on the tours as well. You'll see that the facility does have a lot of gaps, and you may not be able to see them in these slides, and that's why it's important that people judge for themselves and go see the stadium, go on the tours. We also want to impress upon everyone that the stadium is not just for football. Sometimes people have the impression that it's called a football stadium, so it's just for football. On the contrary, it's for all students, and it is for the community and what it can bring to Alice as a city. So we do have football, soccer, graduations, Little Olympics that just took place before spring break, certainly the opportunity for playoff games, the cheerleaders, the strutters, baseball, softball, band competition, and track and field. So these are just, some pictures, because the pictures tell the story. And so in looking at the design of the stadium, we have not definitely created the actual blueprints or anything like that, but just the concept in itself. And if you've been to the stadium, you can picture this, right? And so this stadium is more international style stadium, because right now our stadium is very long, and this one is a little wider. And so research is showing that when you have an international type of stadium, it's a faster track for our track students. We have had some students that run faster in other tracks as opposed to Alice, but research is showing that an international stadium is better because it's wider, and I guess in the turns, I'm not a runner, but that's my understanding. So if you see currently, and I don't know if this has, yes. Well, I guess it doesn't do it on that one. But the transportation department that situates on the south side, that would remain there. And on the north side, where you have Houston, that is where we could situate a field house. This is not definite, doesn't necessarily need to be there. It could be moved in another location. We just wanted to know if we had enough room and enough yards to accommodate all that. Right now, the home side sits, and I think that's going to be a little later. But you see, and I guess I don't want to get ahead of myself, but just recognizing that we do have room. You see those green marks on the visitor side, those green squares. That's for growth. If ever the district decides, we need to grow in seating capacity, we would have the room to do that. And so parking definitely, and I do want to thank the city as well as Mr. Esparza for meeting with the administration to evaluate the codes that the city has when it comes to parking, when it comes to restroom accommodations, right? Because anytime that you build to ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, and be in compliance with that, once we start making changes, we have to comply with ADA. And when we comply with ADA, then that means more restrooms based on the capacity that we can hold in a stadium. And any entity is held to the same standards as AT&T Stadium or the Houston, what is it, NG or something, right? But those individuals have major concerts and national football teams playing, so they serve alcoholic beverages. We don't have that. But we're still held to the same capacity where people may need to use the restroom a little more often. So I want to thank Mr. Esparza and Mr. Patrick Thomas for meeting with us so we can evaluate how we can work together to be able to make this initiative possible. So this is what we're talking about as far as the scope of the work and how the changes would come about. So currently with both home side and visitors, we have 20 restrooms. that currently probably anywhere from 5,000 people are at the stadium in both home and visitors. We'd like to increase that to 77. Parking spaces, again, with the current parking spaces that we have, with the update of all those, as well as the overflow into Sutherland's, then we would be able to have 1,265 parking spaces. Bleachers in the home side right now, we have 2,825, and we're proposing 4,200. And so that'll definitely be an increase, but also remember, those of you that visit the stadium, when you look again at the picture where the word Alice is on the end zone, normally right behind that we have the student section. And where it reads Coyotes, we have the band and the Strutters. And so we're not united as one. I'm sure you all have been to football games. Two of the sections on the visitors' side are home fans sitting with the visitors. So we'd like to bring everyone to one side and be united as one community, one district. So that's why the increase in the home capacity. When you add the bleachers in the band, the student section, and those on the visitors' side, we feel very confident that we still have some room to grow there. Home concessions, if you've stood in line to buy or purchase any items at our concessions, you know it's a little tight. So we have 6 points of sales. And believe it or not, in the visitor side, we have no point of sales. Currently, all the visitors have to come to the home side to purchase any items. The drainage system and the electricity on the visitor side is not at capacity, so we're not able to serve the visitors. So that's why they come to the home side. So visitors right now, we have 0 points of sale. We'd like to increase it to 10 at home and 5 at the visitors side. Field house, we technically don't have a field house. We have 2 dressing rooms. And if you were to see the dressing rooms, you know that they're not in the best conditions. We do have mold in them, and we do have a lot of gaps in the entire cement section, right? And so from the dressing room, if you look up, you can see the sky. When it rains outside, it's raining in our dressing rooms. And so that's why it's important that we have people go visit the stadium. Again, 2 dressing rooms. There's limited showers in, we have no showers in the home side. The visitor side has showers, but they're 77 years old. And so you'll see pictures of those which really don't do it as much justice. Also with our soccer field, right now we have to mark our soccer field, but our students are in a disadvantage when they go to other stadiums to play because our current stadium does not have the same measurements as other stadiums. And so our kids go to another stadium and don't understand why they're having to run a little more. And so their stamina may not be at the same level because our field is not measured at the same level. I want you to, again, look at it. This would be at the level where you see the outside marks. That would be the soccer field. Right now we're closer. And we also have 4 drainage ditches where the Alice and the Coyotes are printed. And so very dangerous for our soccer players. If you all know soccer, kids run. There is no stopping. And so we have to sometimes put individuals there to prevent them from stepping into those holes and really, really hurting themselves. So the soccer field right now, like I said, we're not at the same measurements as other stadiums. Track and field, you know where it says Alice and Coyotes, we have again the Strutters, the band, and we have the student section. When our students run in a track meet, the parents can't see them through those areas. They're blindsided. And so at the Little Olympics, if the student had the second baton and they were the second leg to it or the fourth, there was a part of it that the parents are not able to witness their students running. Again, preventing track meets from being attracted to the city of Alice, to Alice High School as hosting them because of those obstacles. Again, our fans are one-sided, and so are right now on 2 sides. baseball and softball lighting, in talking to the staff at the maintenance department, Mr. Ramos, which is our electrician, shared with me his findings when he went up into the, G-box, I think it's called a J-box, and found the rust and how damaged our lighting was. And so that's also in the football field. We do get criticized that people are not able to see the field as well as in other areas because our lights are on the side in the visitors. And so you really don't get clear lighting in the center of the field. And so kind of the same thing with baseball and softball. And we'll see some of those pictures in a minute. In the men's side, on the visitor side, we have one toilet and one urinal. And people have to wait in line to use the restroom. And those coming from out of town, thinking they're going to be able to use the restroom, have to wait in line to use the restroom. As a matter of fact, you can ask Coach Castellanos, and he's here, so I don't want to speak for him, but he has shared that even our own players in the, at halftime wait in line to use this restroom opposed to the one that is in their dressing room. So these are just pictures of the inside, and I don't want to not say that we don't replace the tiles, because we do replace the tiles as much as we can, but at a cost of $6,000 every time it rains. And you can see the wall, and I can't use my clicker to show the red, but that's mold, and we just paint over it. And just want to share that. These are the steps going up, certainly not ADA compliance, which is the American Disabilities Act compliance. We don't have any railings, because if we do put railings, the concrete is not strong enough, the foundation, that it's just going to crack and make it even more damaging. And so because it is a 77-year-old structure, there has been shifting in the concrete, and it goes from the very bottom all the way to the top. If you see close to step number 14, you see a hole right through it. But that crack goes from the bottom up. Even the stairs are not even. There's people that have shared that they have stopped attending games because of the safety issue of them climbing onto the steps without any railings. The steps are not very long either. I have a foot of 7.5, and even my entire foot doesn't get on some of those steps. This is a picture of the dressing or the shower in the men's locker room. We do tell the coaches from the other team to wait about 5 minutes so the rust in the water can stop running. And then we have the line at the bottom where it also doesn't drain fast enough. And so it just creates where students have actually left and not showered. These are two restrooms that are right by each other. You only see one, but there is no wall in between. There is no door to the restroom. That's exactly how it is. At the top, you see that the tile is missing, but you see cracks, and that, which is right where the bleachers are. Those are the bleachers, and there's cracks. There is a urinal for the visiting team. I don't think that you see it. It's a small urinal for 50 guys. These are the J boxes at the baseball and softball stadium where you see the rust, and the wires are pretty tight that they have indicated that they could possibly break. The J boxes are 60 feet above ground for whatever reason. So think about your home when your lights go out and you go into your laundry room or you go into your garage to switch them back up. We have to pay anywhere over $500 to get the equipment to go do that, because it was built some time back and for whatever reason was placed at the top. Our engineer or our electrician has said we haven't gotten electrocuted because that entire pole is concrete, which has helped us, but it is pretty damaged. Those are pictures of which you can tell some burning has occurred. So the bond project, projected cost is 38 million, with construction being a little over 28 million, the contingencies a little, close to 3, soft costs for the architects, engineers, et cetera. For inflation, you need to put in some money, and we all know how the market is. Some days are better than others. Softball and baseball lighting, 450,000 for an estimated cost of 37 million. What they did share is that bonds are sold at 5,000, and so our financial advisor advises to go for 38. Could we go less? We're going to try, right, to get it even lower and possibly not have to spend as much. So what is a bond? Really quick, I'm sure you all are aware of it, but for those listening, it's like borrowing money. It's like asking for a loan. And so when we think about how districts function, possibly a little different than the city, we are able to put money in 2 buckets. Either the interest and sinking, which is only for debt and for facilities, only. We cannot move this money from this bucket into the maintenance and operation. The maintenance and operation bucket is to pay teacher salaries, it's to pay the light bill, the water bill, etc. That's maintenance and operation. Any trips for students, uniforms for students, that's under the maintenance and operation. Interest and sinking is only for debt and only for facilities. I can't move the money back and forth. And so, based on our property values, just like in a home, when you think of you and your husband, or me and my husband, maybe it's you and your wife, building a home, you go to the bank and you say, okay, this is my income, that's his income, and so we qualify for a certain amount of money, right? A certain amount of loan. So I'll never be able to buy Jerry Jones's house, right? My husband and I don't make enough money to go get a loan for that amount of money. So they cap you, right? So we could have gone out for 45 million without having to raise our tax rate. Okay, we didn't go for 45 million, but what I'm saying is that we qualified for that much without having to raise our tax rate. And so the board approved on February the 12th to go for $38 million bond. So again, going back to the maintenance and operation, 44 or 0.4471 again of the tax rate goes to pay debt, and the rest, the 70.7810 goes for the maintenance operations of the district. So we're saying last year the tax rate was 1.2281, and that's what it's going to be this coming year. With or without a stadium, the tax rate will remain the same. So there is no change. So people, however, everyone listening, by law, any bond that is being passed in any district throughout the state of Texas needs to include the verbiage that there will be a tax increase. Whether the tax rate is there or not, the legislators made that decision a few years back. And any district passing any bond, whether it's for facilities for a school or facilities for a stadium, has to include that verbiage. Why? Because we can't control the appraisal value. So if somebody's appraisal value of your home goes up, taxes are going up, but not because of a stadium. We're not increasing that amount. So we are impressing upon everyone the importance to vote, to practice our right to vote, whether it's for or against the bond. Early voting is on April 22nd through the 30th, and the ballot will show for or against. The voting sites will be at Science Elementary, the gym, Shallard Elementary, the gym, Noonan Elementary, the gym as well, and Jim Wells County Courthouse. Voting will be from 8 to 5 during early voting, and on election day from 7 to 7. So again, people have asked, like, well, what about Alice High School? And we know that definitely it is old. It's from 1970, not as old as 1947, right? But it is up there. And so back in 1995, they just added the wing, the 200 wing, and they added the wonderful Performing Arts Center, the Bryce Taylor Theater of Performing Arts, and the UBU Lounge. That's like it's like the cafeteria. They added to the cafeteria why they call it the UBU. I've asked, maybe because they, almost 25 years ago, they don't remember why they named it the UBU. Okay. Back in the 2019 bond project, they did invest about $3.5 million on the student and athletic parking, and they did do some roof repairs. And they also resurfaced the tennis court. They added a security and a PA system with bells at a cost of $34,000, and including auditorium lights recently with the sound screen projector at a cost of $338,000. So they have been working at the high school. Are we where we want to be? No. But I'll be very honest with the community, with our mayor, our commissioners, to build a high school, right now the going rate is anywhere from $150 to $200 million. Based on our property values, our financial advisor says we would not be able to qualify for a bond that size. We're not the Dallas area where they pass billion-dollar bonds. We wouldn't be there, so that's why we need to work it in phases. And so this is a strategic plan that we have for Alice High School. We want to redo the restrooms. We know that the restrooms need to be remodeled. We want to beautify the campus starting this summer as well, where painting and things like that, where we can make it better with the landscape as well. We want to hire a consultant also to evaluate the conditions, just like we did with the stadium, evaluate the systems that need replacement, and give it to us in phases, beginning in January of 2024, and then design for renovation of spaces and hallways. We know that they're tight. When you go there, there's some hallways that are a little tight, and we want to know what can we do. Can we get somebody to tell us where we can expand, what we can knock out to make it better? And again, this is a 5-year plan because it does need to be in phases. So thank you for your time. I hopefully didn't bore you all too much, but we are wanting everyone to go out and vote one way or another. So any questions that you have for me or for the team that's with me, I do want to thank Ms. Ophelia Hunter, as well as Mr. Michael Lajosa, our CFO, Mr. Juan Zamora, and Coach Castellanos that are in the house with me. So if you have any questions for me or for them, we'll be happy to entertain them. If not,
Any questions? Mr. Beltran?
I'm good.
No.
I'm
Mr.
good.
Ma-
Thank you.
Mrs. Polly?
No, I'm good. Was one of those that did the visit, so I did see all of this as well, and I've been through your presentation a few times. Thank you for that. And thank you all for being here with the school district. Appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
if I may add one thing, Mayor.
Sure.
The stadium is not just for the students of Alice, it's for the entire community. And I think that, it's important for me to say that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garza, you didn't have any questions? Sorry.
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 4.3, discussion and presentation of applications submitted to Department of Housing and Urban Development requesting upgrades to various sport fields and creation of tournament-level Little League football fields. Mr.
Can you open the next two? They're all
Okay,
kind of
sure.
related.
4.4, discussion and presentation of applications submitted to Department of Housing and Urban Development for the purpose of Project Clear, or CLEAR, Clear, to address excessive vacant structures that currently exist in the city of Alice, which pose numerous issues for our city, such as health and safety concerns, criminal activity, property values, economic growth, aesthetics, which would improve the quality of life. 4.5, discussion and presentation regarding community funding project in the amount of $1 million for Alice, Texas, for the elevated storage tanks, repairs and replacement project that Representative Monica de la Cruz was able to secure for the city of Alice.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
And wanted to open them all together because they're all interrelated. It's all from the Department of Housing and Urban Development and their economic development initiatives, congressional funding that they can send to us. And we do have us here, the district representative for Congresswoman Monica de la Cruz. We have Ruben Vidal here, And if he wants to come up also as we talk about these. The first one we applied for is a grant that we had applied for last year as well. And we didn't get that grant, but we applied again, made some changes, and Mayor, you're instrumental in working with that when I was out for that other pending matter that we had. And so we did get that application out, and we're applying for $1 million to revitalize some of the parks, and I know that's been something that, and sporting fields that a lot of the council has wanted to do as well. And the second one that we applied for this next funding is for, we call it Project Clear, and we're trying to work on some of the unsafe buildings and unsafe structures, so we're applying for 1.5 million on that. And so we have quite a bit of structures that we've identified, and luckily we have them all on paper, we have them organized, and we sent that in, so we're hoping to get that funding. And on 4.5, we did get funded $1 million, so we do want to thank Mr. Vidial and Congresswoman Monica De La Cruz for getting us that money. And so, you want to talk about that?
First of all, I want to tell you that Congresswoman sends well wishes and many, many high regards to the city of Alice. My name is Ruben Villarreal. I'm District Director for Congresswoman Monica De La Cruz. I come here regularly, and I've always had the pleasure of coming here, spending time in Alice. And especially in a day like today, when we come with big announcements to leave some money here, the Congresswoman, we affectionately call her the hardest working Congress member in South Texas, because it's a lot of hard work to try to get these kind of funds. The total amount that she was managed to get for Texas 15 was $25 million. And within the structure of the $25 million, I'm very pleased to say that Alice is included, as well as Jim Wells. Now, these projects come through a community development block grant that is individually through the district. It's competitive, but only in Texas 15. So fortunately, City of Alice is very, very progressive and aggressive in applying for these monies. I've had a discussion with City Manager Esparza, and some of the commentary I get up in the district is people making comment of why they didn't receive it, but they didn't apply. You all apply. So I congratulate you for that. And within the realm of what the Congresswoman does, leaving money, putting money, reinvesting money back into the community is of utmost importance to her. I travel with her often. I spend lots of hours with her, and the talk about infrastructure, whether it be water or parks, mobility, public safety, those are bread and butter issues that this community deals with every single day. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to come to you today and tell you that, yes, you were awarded $1 million for an elevated water tower facility that I know that this area will use very wisely. The project that you have here, again, this is water. We had a long conversation with City Manager Esparza about water, and it brings me joy to be able to discuss with the city manager, because he gets the water issues. He understands about how water is so tied to your future and tied to your future prosperity and development. You can try to create as much economic development as you want to, but if you don't have the water to provide to your businesses and your homes and your families, you're going to hit a crossroads where you're going to have lots of difficult decisions to make. So the $1 million that you have coming to you is from the 23 application cycle. I think you have another application cycle coming in 24. Or 25, I'm sorry, for 24, and that will be coming in at a later time. But I will tell you that it gives me great joy to come here and see this here in writing, that you are going to receive $1 million for your project, and I congratulate you for your hard efforts. And I can answer general questions. Obviously, this is done through the DC office. I am the district director. I take care of everything from casework of IRS, Social Security, VA issues, but I also can speak a lot of infrastructure. I'm well versed in infrastructure, so I can answer general questions about this if anybody has any questions.
Also, just to let y'all know, it's been almost, so this renovation project for the 3 elevated storage tanks, I think it's almost been 20 years since anything has been done to those tanks. I think it was really, one of them was, they were painted. One had some repairs and painting, and the other 2 had paint. And so this is something we've been talking about for a few years. Finally came through, we applied, and just like Mr. Rial said, yeah, we applied. A lot of people, they just forget or they don't do it, and it came through. And so we're hoping that the other 2 we applied for this year come through as well, right? But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Council, any questions? Mr. Beltran?
Thank you for everything you guys do out there, and I think it's great that we're able to apply for these grants. Thank you, Michael and staff, for doing your diligence, and that's what we commend you for, that kind of work. Like you said, if people ask, they don't get,
Council member, I want to tell you how often it happens. I say it affectionately, but they list out the people who did receive, and then when you ask them what they applied for, and they tell you they didn't apply for anything, well, you can't get a ticket to the show if you don't buy the ticket. So it's a big part that again, you all are staying on top of it and staying on the forefront. And again, I had a conversation with the mayor about the upcoming budget cycles, and all those little things matter. Because at the end of the day, like I say, I don't have anything to do with the grading, but I also have a lot to do with people applying, making sure entities go out there and do buy that ticket. We want to be able to ask for that money. Now, I can tell you that this funding comes through a lot of hard work.
Right.
There was no easy road. If anybody knows about Washington these days, it's a very treacherous road to travel these days on lots of fronts. So when we got the announcement, our district office was excited. The DC office, we get excited. It brings us a lot of joy. The Congresswoman was very, very excited, because I will tell you that the money sometimes seemed to be in peril, but it happened. $25 million for Texas 15. You get $1 million of this money. And we have another project here in Jim Wells. So we're here to be of service to you. And please, I hope everybody has my number. I know Mr. Esparza does, and I know Nelly does, and I know Odie does, and I know the mayor does. I know Ms. Bowen does too. But if you ever need anything, I'm a phone call away.
Thank you. I know there's always the talk of, isn't there a grant for that? I hear that all the time. Isn't there a grant for that?
Yeah.
Well, there is a grant for that, but you must apply, and there's only limited funds, and it's a obstacle to get it,
Yes.
And you're there to testify on that behalf.
The way the process worked, I believe that they had 38 or 42 applicants in the initial run, and then the congresswoman selected 15 from there, and Alice was one of them. And then it goes to the next step in the appropriation. And appropriation, I regrettably will tell you, or I guess with a little bit of delight also will tell you, that she had about 85% of her grant requests granted, but there are some that didn't make it past appropriations. Even if she selects her 15, it goes through another committee in Washington. I know Mr. Esparza knows how it works, and then they have to decide, okay, yes, this project, or no, that project. So we had a very good success rate. We had a success rate of about 85% on our project, so we were very pleased with that too. Again, the district team does the work, but the legislative team in DC and the congressman work very hard. And I just want to make it crystal clear that we want to let you know that we're here to stay, and we're ready to be of service. We love this kind of announcements.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all your hard work.
Mr. Molina?
I appreciate your energy and your vigor and your passion for what you do, obviously. And I see, and I kind of hear about a lot of I'm trying to be nice here, all the nonsense that goes on up there,
Yes, sir.
and the needs that we have down here, and I appreciate her efforts and everything she's doing for us. Just real quickly, the $1 million that we're getting, that's just for the water towers?
Right,
Basically?
yes.
Okay. The others are kind of still baking, right?
This was last year's funding, the 23 funding. And these other two are the ones we just applied for.
Got it.
We had the deadline of Saturday the 9th, and so we rushed to get all those done.
Tell
Nelly,
Monica hello for
a
us,
lot of work on it.
and thank you, and
give her
send her a big Alice hug from all of us, and I'd like your business card before you leave, you don't mind, sir?
So just to let you know, and his passion also comes from being in y'all's shoes as well.
Oh, really?
He's former
Yes.
council member, mayor pro tem,
Yes.
city manager. He knows, he understands us.
So you work for free then?
For 15 years, yeah.
I'll see it's hard, right?
You know what? It's the most wonderful, crazy job you'll ever love.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Vidal, appreciate it.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Mrs. Bowen?
Oh, it's wonderful to see you again and
Yes.
being here in Alice. And Jim Wells, I know that I've seen you several times out there. Please extend my appreciation to Monica. Ms. De La Cruz, our Congresswoman, she's doing an amazing job. I do follow her and can witness to her drive and her passion, especially when she comes down here to visit us and I visit with her. You can tell that she really, really cares and loves our community.
Yes.
And that makes a big, big difference when we see that somebody up in Congress has that same passion that we do. for our community. This is such a blessing to our community. I was around in a different capacity when the first time the elevated storage tanks were being painted and a few little things on there. But I'm looking forward to being around again to see this come to full circle. I do have one question for Mr. Esparza. Is this $1 million just for painting, or is it going to be, there's some repairs as well?
It's repairs and renovations.
Oh, repairs and renovations. Okay, wonderful, perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much. It's great to see you again.
Mr. Garza?
Well, Sandra just took all the words out of my mouth. She said it all. That's perfect.
Ditto, just say ditto.
You ditto. And it's always great seeing you again. You become a familiar face to the community. Every time we have events, your great smile is there, the wonderful mustache, and we've had great conversations together. And every time Monica's in town, I enjoy visiting with her and you all in your offices. I'm very grateful for all the work that you all do. Like you said, it is hectic there in Washington, D.C. There are other Congress members that are spending money like, I like to use examples, but they spent $175,587 studying the Japanese doves to see if they're more promiscuous when they're on cocaine. So the fact that we're getting $1 million of our taxpayers' money back for us to utilize something that we need with our water towers, hats off to you guys, because that means you all are doing your job too. So I appreciate you. Michael, y'all are doing your job as well, and we appreciate that too, because the more federal tax money we can get, that is our tax money, the less tax money we have to ask for our constituents. So thank you, and thank Monica.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. I want to thank staff because they worked really hard in putting these things together, so thank y'all so much. Thank you, Michael. Mr. Lemon, sorry. You rolled your eyes, sorry. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
John. Really, John?
Well, thank you so much. And thank the Congresswoman, because she always does reach out, and she's very personable, and she does make that phone call, and that means so much to me and to everyone in our community. So thank you so much. Then we moving on to agenda item number 5, consent agenda. All consent agenda items are considered to be routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent agenda and voted on separately. 5.1, discuss, consider, and act upon approval of City Council minutes for the February 20th, 2024 City Council meeting. Do I hear a motion on reference to?
May I make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council. Agenda item number 6, individual consideration. 6.1, discuss, consider, and act upon adopting a resolution of the City of Alice, Texas, finding AEP Texas request for approval of its base rates increase is denied. The existing rates and charges of AEP Texas are hereby found to be just and reasonable rates, and the city adopts such existing rates to continue to be observed and to be enforced within the city hereafter. Mr. Esparza?
We have Patrick King with AEP here to talk about this, and John's gonna touch on it as well. Okay. Well, there you go.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council
Welcome.
members, administrative staff. Patrick King with AEP Texas. What's before you today was part of a settlement agreement that we made with the Public Utility Commission 4 years ago. We actually agreed with them that we would file for a rate review analysis at that time, and time goes by pretty quick because that 4 years is up. So as just briefly, as the city, you still have original jurisdiction over the rates within your community for AEP Texas. we fall under the Public Utility Commission. So anytime that we want to evaluate the rates, ask for a review, possible increase, it comes before all of our 375 cities that we serve in Texas, in over 96 counties that we serve. This is kind of a procedural process, so it comes before you, and we ask our cities, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but we ask our cities to deny this rate case. And the reason for that is because there's so many cities within our jurisdiction. We want this thing to go ahead and transfer to the Public Utility Commission, and it be evaluated under one rate case. And then when the decision is made, whether our request is granted or denied, or they agree to give us some point in the middle, then we can evenly distribute them rates throughout all of our communities. They're all the same, and it just makes the billing and everything a lot more easier. So that's kind of where we're at today. This is the first step in the process. This rate case will be disputed at the PUCT. There will be interveners that come in. It's a pretty drawn-out, lengthy process, but this is the first step in that process.
Okay. Council, any questions? Or Mr. Lemon, you have
No,
anything?
he told you pretty straight. He just, basically what it does is it kicks it to the Public Utility Commission to make a determination. So,
This is to keep our rate the same or lower it or,
The increase, there is an application for an increase currently.
yeah, they want to increase, and what the resolution is actually he's asking you to deny it, because then it'll kick us, or our determination, our local community, to the Public Utility Commission. And so
Okay.
then they'll render in regards to all of the cases before it, or all the municipalities before it.
so make sure I understood correctly. Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Molina?
Yeah, it's a confusing
Yeah,
item.
it is.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Because you're
Okay,
gonna,
thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Well, I still need the, I'm sorry. Mrs. Bowen?
no,
And I gave council member a promotion earlier.
yeah, he called me
I
mayor.
called her mayor.
You know, I didn't correct you.
We share.
I thought it
We're
was
good.
rude. I've been called that before, right?
Yes.
No worries. No worries at all. It's always great to see you.
Yes, ma'am.
Always great. I love when you're in town. You and your beautiful smile. Yeah, it is kind of confusing because this is approved to, yeah, okay, I see what it is. Okay. No, I don't have no questions. We're good. I understand it.
And, you know, if something comes up, you know, related to any issues with AEP Texas, I believe everybody here probably has or can have my cell phone number, so don't hesitate to reach out and give me a call. We're in contact, you know, periodically with the city on different issues that come up, lighting or things, or maybe an outage update or something going on. So just don't ever hesitate to give me a call. I'm always available. So thank you.
Mr. Garza, one more.
Okay.
Any
I'm
questions?
sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we would ask that you all pass the resolution denying or objecting to the rate.
Yes. Okay. Okay,
Is it as
council.
stated or not?
If you want to pass the resolution as stated, okay?
Okay, Mayor, I make a motion to pass the resolution as stated. I'll second.
All right.
She didn't ask, but okay.
That's all right.
Take care of business.
Yeah, that's right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, council. All right, let's move on to our next agenda item. 6.2, discuss, consider, and act upon amending and adopting revised subdivision ordinance number 2108, including updating minimum building codes for storm drainage and updating submittal codes for required documents. Mr. Esparza.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor and Council, I have Waylon Oaks, our engineering tech, that's gonna help with this item.
Okay.
And just a little bit of background, we looked at two particular things, the design frequency of our stormwater runoff, storm drainage, on our subdivision guidelines, and it is, at a 2-year, and he'll explain all this, but, which is, to me, is almost like like we don't have one. And we've been talking about bringing that up to something that's a little bit more in line with where we should be as far as flooding and storm drainage, but it's still developer friendly and not regulation friendly. And found that right balance where we're on the lower end of it. And the other part was adding PDF to requirements on our building plan and subdivision plan. So, Waylon, you want to?
Alrighty, good afternoon, council. I would like to talk about the PDF before we delve into any kind of stormwater.
Okay.
For the PDF, we just want to go ahead and add a stipulation to require a PDF submission for our 100% submittal plans and plats. And it really helps us out as far as streamlining the process. We don't have to wait for people to bring in physical plans. If they need to make small updates, we can go ahead and let them know to just shoot us over an email, and that also forms a paper trail, so we don't have to be stamping received. We can go back to our files and see when we received it and who sent it. Other than that, it really cuts down on storage and the amount of physical space we need to store plans. Right now, our engineering office is full of stored plans, and we have the upstairs completely full of plans. And I guess that's a hazard, fire hazard for the city. But with PDF, we'd be able to take it directly from email and submit it over to our server and just have it stored electronically. And if we ever need to find it, it's just as easy as typing in some keywords and finding it in the system that way, instead of physically opening plans and looking for what we need when we need it. So we want to go ahead and add the stipulation that we put a PDF on top of our submittals. And it's really easy. Back in the day when these were formed, maybe there were still people working on paper, so it was easier for them to bring paper over. But now everybody uses a computer. Everyone has one, and almost all of the paperwork done is through CAD. So they have to print it out to send it to us anyways. They already have the electronic file. And the past 2 or 3 developers we've worked with, they really want to just send over a PDF because they're out of state or they're from somewhere else, and they have to either FedEx them or make a drive over to drop them off. So this would really help out the city and the developers. And we move over to the storm drain, as Mr. Michael was saying, right now we have a 2-year design frequency. What the design frequency is the theoretical storm for I guess, a reoccurrence rate. And as the years go up, it's more rare that storm will occur, but it has a higher output. And we're looking at that higher output because I have this to hand over to the for the board to look at. Oh, okay.
You'll have this, I put it on your station.
Yes. Thank you. A lot of the developers we've worked with, they automatically default to a 100-year storm frequency because it builds a safer structure. It really prepares for any kind of heavy rainfall or any kind of things like that. We would need to worry about detention or where that water's going. So when they go to that extent, they're pretty much guaranteed that they need to do some kind of detention to keep from flooding the neighboring areas. And on here, we actually have one developer that used the 2-year design frequency, the bare minimum, and we have been receiving complaints of anytime any kind of small shower, any kind of rainstorm at all, they're getting flooding and pooling in that area, and it's not dissipating in a timely fashion, so it's causing all kinds of issues there, degradation of the asphalt and everything else where the water pools on the area. A lot of these developers, they opt for 25 to 100 year. We've had a couple, Panda Express is one of them. They did a 5-year, but they're dumping their water directly onto TxDOT, and TxDOT has the infrastructure to move that water away from their road. And we also have from TxDOT their hydraulic design manual. The only thing that they allow for a 2-year design would be a local street, something that they're not going to be governing. It's something that belongs to the city. Everything else, they specify, especially in their freeways, they specify a 50-year design frequency. So, and I can go ahead and hand this around as well.
Okay.
Now, changing the design frequency doesn't add any extra encumbrance to the calculations. So they just change which factor they're using from the NOAA provided storm factors.
Okay.
That one. All they do is go to that chart, and there's a specific volume for every section that we're working in, and the one they're copying right now is for the Alice section. I believe the 2-year storm frequency, if you do a 5-minute duration, the shortest storm, you would get about 6.5 inches an hour. And if we go to a 20 to 25-year storm frequency, it jumps up to about 11.9 inches per hour. And at 2-year frequency, they basically...
Is this what you're talking about?
I can't read that.
It should be on your second page to the 3 pages, I think. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, sir. We're going through the 20-year frequency. in the highlighted text, that used to be a 2-year frequency. We want to go to the 20, because I was saying the 2-year, the values that come out of that really don't alter the construction at all. They're pretty much just putting flat ground there, and they're not accounting for any kind of runoff. A 20-year would help reshape the way that they're designing things, so that way they do have to deal with some kind of runoff, but not to the extent of a 100-year where they would need to have detention and slow down where the water's going. It would just be enough to build a safer structure. And as we were saying at Magnolia Estates, if they would have gone to a higher year frequency there, they may have designed some drainage that would have prevented that. But at the 2-year, they basically wouldn't have to do anything to deal with any kind of runoff, because their calculation would show that the runoff would be so small it would be negligible. So we want to go to a 20-year for that to provide safer structures.
Okay. Council?
And something else we talked about while we were here was that this isn't going to affect people building a house. I think any kind of residential citizens or anything that they just come in and get a permit. This is more focused for the developers, who it's their responsibility to provide a safe lot for people to build a house on. So it won't affect an everyday citizen unless they're opening a business. And the only reason that affects them is because if you build a house, you're not increasing the impermeable surface by a large percentage, because you still have your yard, and only thing you're increasing is the house footprint and their driveway. So you still have plenty of grass to have infill and infiltration. Last thing I got is it really makes safer structures. That's why, as we see a lot of developers that do chains like the Chick-fil-A, they opt to do a 100-year frequency because it makes a lot safer structure. They're prepared up to a 100-year flood to still have no problems, whereas at Magnolia Estates, we're having a 2-year and they're having flooding problems. I would like to say if we had a 20-year storm, they wouldn't be prepared for it, and you would probably see property damage at that point. So we're really focused on trying to make the housing safer. We're trying, and as density increases, a lot more impermeable space is made, and then it comes down to where does the water go, and eventually we're going to have to do something about the water. If we start doing more and more concrete driveways and more businesses next door to each other, all of the water is going to end up being pushed to the streets. But if we don't account for that and we just let a 2-year frequency happen, nobody's accounting for that water. And as you know, we get pretty heavy storms in early year.
Well, I'll tell you, thank you. I'm going to ask council right now if they have any questions.
So Waylon, when Magnolia Estates was built, this is
you.
the one, the subdivision right over here off of Sunset, correct?
Yes, sir.
You said they had a 2-year frequency,
Yes, sir. They use the minimum 2-year design frequency.
and at that time, they were allowed to do that?
Yes, sir. They currently still are.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, no problem, that's all I want to find out.
Mr. Molina?
This is just being proactive, right?
Yes, sir.
That's all we're doing.
Really, like I said, as the density of increases, we get more and more impermeable ground. Eventually, there's going to come to a point where all of the water is pooling up somewhere because no one has accounted for it.
And one thing that really brought it to our attention, because we've had 2 different developers come in. The last one I remember was from the Valley, and we're sitting here and they're asking about our frequency design, and we said it's 2-year, and they're like, 2-year? That's like nothing.
Right.
We do 50 automatically,
Yeah.
and sometimes even 100. And in the Valley, the lowest that they ever find is, I think he said they have some 20s, but mainly 50 and 100. And he was coming from the Valley, and he was just really surprised that we still had a 2-year. And so that was, after we had been talking about it, and then he brought it up too. So it was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's pretty much nothing. A 2.
Good.
Before I go,
Yes.
Waylon, right?
Yes.
Can you introduce yourself and with your capacity and what you're doing, your title and all that, if you don't mind, because I know it's the first time coming and speak with you.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm Waylon Oaks. I've been working here for about 3 months as the engineering tech in the engineering department. I handle all of the mapping and plan review and plat review for the engineering department. And on top of that, they also have me looking at our ordinances to see what we can update to make things streamlined and a little bit safer for the community.
I can vouch for this gentleman. He went to school with my middle son. He also helped, I guess, redo my parking lot back before I went to college. But he's a really good hand, and I appreciate all your kind of your sixth sense of looking at this.
Yeah, and Waylon's got a lot of background just growing up in the industry of, water, sewer, streets, and things like that. His family, I know his dad and his grandparents have been in business for a long time on septics and roads, so it's kind of a natural fit for him to be looking at this, because it's nothing new to him. And he's gonna be graduating in May with an engineering degree,
Yes, sir.
civil engineering degree, so we got him in as an engineering tech, and so we're glad he's with us.
Even your grandparents too, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome addition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome on board. We've heard a lot of good things about you from Michael, and he says you're making his life a lot easier and getting us up to speed with our technology, so thank you for that.
I heard the same too, so, very good. I had the pleasure of meeting you before in his office, so thanks for being here. I just have a quick question, and let me just make sure I understand. So we're moving from a 2-year to a 20-year, okay. And then on this, under section 2, you have 3 physical copies and a PDF. You were mentioning just a PDF, or is it and/or a PDF?
We went ahead and require both, and like I said, I've been working with a few contractors when they need to put something in that's just a small detail. For example, we just looked at a plat, and the review was only missing a border around their second lot. So we went ahead and told them, we know you're in a time crunch, just go ahead and send us over a PDF.
Okay.
So by specifying that we want a PDF, I guess that leaves the door open for us to work with contractors. If they don't have time to come by with physical copies, we
Okay.
can go ahead and just receive a PDF from them, and we can make the physical
So
copies.
we're okay with this statement?
Yeah, because we do get the physical copies, and there, we use them a lot when we're going back and forth, but the PDF is really helpful for us.
The problem that he's running into is that he can't accept the PDF unless it's changed. He can't say, this is fine, and that's the change is okay. They have
Okay.
to submit it as writing as well. What he's saying is that this gives you the option to submit. We do want the written things, but you can also submit it to me in PDF. So he can accept the change through a PDF, and it's just short like that.
I follow you. Okay, so that's what you mean, okay. Because I just wanted to make sure it was worded correctly in this document here, okay. Sorry, didn't want to make you nervous or anything. We're good. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Garza?
Sounds great. It's just protecting ourselves in the future. And thank you for joining the team. I hope you enjoy working with us, and hopefully you'll be here for the long haul.
I hope so. It's been great so far. Yes, ma'am.
Good deal. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so if there's no further discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion to amend and adopt the revised subdivision ordinance number 2108 to include updating minimum building codes from a 2-year to a 20-year
For
design
storm,
frequency, I believe.
is that correct?
For
For storm drain?
drainage and updating submittal codes for required documents, and also requiring the PDF requirement.
Second.
That's good. Okay. So we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, council.
Thank you, Waylon.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome aboard. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 6.3. Discuss, consider, and act upon a resolution, A, ratifying the submission of grant application number 2989910, titled Local Border Security Program to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Homeland Security Grants Division, for funds available for the fiscal year 2025 Local Border Security Program, LBSP, for overtime and operational funds for the Alice Police Department. B, designating the city manager as the city's authorized official. C, authorizing the city manager to apply for, to accept, to reject, to alter, or to terminate a grant on behalf of the city. And D, providing assurance that in the event of loss or misuse of grant funds, the city will return all funds to the Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Homeland Security Grants Division.
Mayor, members of the council, and our city manager, our city attorney, thank you for having me here today and standing here before you. With us, we have it's a Homeland Security grant. This grant, we've had it for the last 5 years, 6 years. So all we're doing is reapplying for this monies. Except this year's grant, we're applying for a little bit more money for our dispatch. And what we need to do is replace all our radio system, or the brain, the hub of our system. We need to replace it because it's so old, and they don't even have parts anymore. So we're having to look. So it's going to come to a time. So we're already planning, and so we've included that part in our grant. I believe our grant's for 500,000, right about 450, 500,000, if I'm correct, right about those numbers. Because I think the overtime that we receive is 100,000, and then the dispatch is for about 450,000 to replace all our and to upgrade our system.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am. So that's what this is for.
Okay.
And so this is a continuation of for the last 5 years. So it's nothing new. The only thing that we're adding on is for our dispatch.
Okay. Council, Mr. Beltran?
So this is a continuation of the total upgrade of our entire system, right? From
Yes, sir. It's gotten to that point that we need to, and we need to start looking. Matter of fact, I've met with Gabriel, and I'm going over a 5-year plan. Hopefully, I'm still alive in 5 years, right? But I'm looking at 5-year plan to see how we could upgrade this, because it's going to get to a point that it's, it's going to collapse on us one day. We just, our tower, for instance, we were able to we had to upgrade that, and not just the top of the whole thing, the whole wiring.
Right.
And Patrick was gracious enough to help me, and our city manager helped me out with that. And now it comes, now we need to look at dispatch. Now, let me add that we're not just looking at this grant to upgrade it. We're looking at Lone Star. We're applying for the same thing, hopefully, to try to see if we can get the monies to upgrade it and to replace all our
get up to speed. It seems like we're getting everything up to speed. Everything
Yes, sir.
Technological.
Yes, sir.
In every aspect. So good. Sounds great.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Miller?
Oh, that's awesome. More proactive visionaries. Thank you. Good.
Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Bowen?
No, I'm good. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Mr. Garza?
Chief, just like Ruben said, if you don't apply, you can't get it. So thank you for applying for all of these grants to get our taxpayers' money, get the most out of it. And you weren't here earlier, but one thing I forgot to mention at last council meeting was thank you for being under budget.
Oh, thank you so much. That was pretty cool, right? Our staff
Pretty
works
cool.
really hard, and we work diligently to try and fall within the the confines of our budget. I know how much our
That was very
monies
cool.
are needed in our community, in our city, and it's hard and it's difficult because of the equipment that we have, but we've been able to manage with what we have. But eventually, it comes calling, right? We got to replace it. But I do thank you, and thank you to Gabriel and his staff because they help us a lot. So thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. Keep up the great work.
You bet. Thank
Yes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you all.
There's a
Chief.
model, Chief, that we use. It's doing more with less.
That's, yes, sir. But after a while, you
You have no choice.
ya los tenis.
Worn out. They're worn out.
Yeah, no.
But,
Blame it
no,
on
we
Michael.
manage.
Flip 'em around. Thank you, Chief.
No, thank you.
Thank you. All right. If we have no other discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion. Council?
Mayor, move.
As stated or what?
There's a lot of reading, Mayor.
As stated.
As stated.
You gotta take a deep breath and go.
Mayor, I'll make a motion
Okay,
to
I'll let
accept
him
it
do
as stated.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
We have to approve a resolution ratifying the submission of grant application number 2989910, titled Local Border Security Program to Office of the Governor, Public Safety Office, Homeland Security Grants Division, for funds available for FY 2025 Local Border Security Program, LBSP, for overtime and operational funds for the Alice Police Department. B, designating the city manager as the city's authorized official, authorizing city manager to apply for, accept, to reject or alter or to terminate a grant on behalf of the city. And D, providing assurance that in the event of loss or misuse of grant funds, the city will return all funds to the Office of Governor, Public Safety Office, Homeland Security Grants Division.
Thank you.
As stated.
As stated. Thank you, Mr. Lemon.
What he said.
And one of the reasons why
will
we did
second
that
that.
is we want to be certain we have that last part in.
Right, the last part.
Okay. All right, so we have a first and a second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chief. Stay safe.
Go get tech savvy.
Agenda item 6.4, discuss, consider, and act upon approving application for tax refund on property described as Carlisle Alice Properties LLC, lots 8 and 11, block 5, Adams Presnell Farm Tracts, also known as 1810 East Main Street, Alice, Jim Wells County, Texas.
Mayor and council, so this is, their taxes were paid, they disputed their value, and so, it got adjusted, so this is money owed back after they paid their taxes.
Oh, okay.
Council, any questions? Mr. Garza?
It wasn't, it was just that they overpaid, they're not disabled veteran?
No, it just overpaid, and the dollar amount, that we're refunding is $1,246.23.
All right, I appreciate you, thank you.
They disputed.
They disputed.
They disputed.
and
They had
then-
already paid their,
Evaluations.
Mrs. Bowman? No question. Mr. Medina?
Never happens to me, but okay.
Mr. Beltran?
Keep fighting.
Sorry? No, we're good. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So if there's no further discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the application for tax refund on property described as Carlisle Alice Properties LLC, Lot 8 and 11, Block 5, Adams Presnell Farm Tracts, also known as 1810 East Main Street, Alice, Jim Wells County, Texas.
Second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, thank you, council. And moving on to 6.5, discuss, consider, and act upon reviewing and awarding bids for sale of city-owned property known as 2107 Jocelyn Street, Alice, Texas. Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Mayor. This agenda item is consideration of the city-owned property at 2107 Jocelyn Street. It's a small lot that has large easements from AEP and also city infrastructure that takes up majority of the property. There's no opportunity for the city to make improvements and really to get any use out of the lot. So what we did was we advertised for the sale of property in the Alice Echo News Journal for 3 successive weeks. The first publication was on Wednesday, January 31st, second on February the 7th, and the third on February the 14th. We also posted here at City Hall and on the city website. Bids were due on Thursday, February 29th at 2 p.m., which shortly after they were publicly opened and read aloud. We received 2 bids, one for $1,200 with their plans to build a single-family home, and the second for $5,500. The family, they live right next door, and so basically what they're wanting is just to use it like more as a backyard for family gatherings and things like that.
Okay. Council, any questions? Mr. Garza?
No, no questions right now.
Mrs. Bowen?
No, not right now, thank
No?
you. No, I'm
Mr. Molina?
looking back.
Nothing, that's all. There was no map, I was just trying to find it.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir.
Oh, we're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Glad we sold it.
Sold.
Okay, so, if we have no further discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion. I was double checking.
So we are picking, excuse me, just so I can
One of
clarify,
2 of the bids, yes.
Yeah,
between the 2 bids.
so that's what
It
was
should be
like,
in the packet as far as what their,
we do have,
One
we
was
do
the
have
55 and the other was
documentation.
12.
Right.
Okay, I understand now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it.
Mayor, if I may ask a question. The 1,200 that want to build the house there, the 50, what is it, 500 and the other one, they want to use it for extra yard.
But they could build at a later date, I mean, if they like, I'm sure, right?
But they don't have plans to. They've been there 65 years.
Yeah, and also there, I mean, and there, one of the things is that lot is pretty tight because AEP has a pretty big easement. We don't have utilities there, but we have an easement as well. And so, it, standalone, it would be questionable whether it's possible.
What is your recommendation?
I mean, the highest bid on there.
They've been there, it says 50-plus years, the homeowners have been.
Right, but that's all we get for now. Right?
See, but that brings up my other point of the question.
As far as
If we go with a higher bid and they're not allowed to build the house, well, then we're stuck with a property that's just taxed at the property value without a house, where versus if they purchased it to extend their yard, how would that affect the property rate taxes also?
Well, the appraisal district will get that, and that's gonna be addition to the property, so it's gonna make the property more valuable, so yeah. It will affect their,
But they're gonna appraise an empty lot, just like it is right now, right?
and right now it's ours, so there's no taxes
There's
on
no
it.
taxes on it, since it's ours.
Right, but if somebody does.
Yeah, if
build
they take it
some-
over, yes.
Right.
If they're able to.
But like I'm saying, if we go with the 1,200 and they're not able to build a house, well, then it's just, you're getting the property value, right? Versus if they sold it to the other, who made it part of their property.
We may be able to build a house.
But,
Hey,
but they wanna build a house, and why would they buy a lot just to look at it, right?
Yeah, but like he said, there's possible utilities can be in the way that they might not be
Are they
able.
aware of that?
I believe so. AP has a pretty
Oh,
big
they-
easement there.
They do have
So
an easement.
this property, do you guys remember we dealt with the Dollar General and that line that runs all the way down?
Yes.
This is that same transmission line that runs there.
Okay.
So,
You can't build anything underneath that, right?
yeah, it's pretty, I mean, they have a pretty big,
Strict.
pretty big easement there.
Mm-hmm.
On the, north side of that lot.
I wish there would've been a diagram or a map or anything, cause there's nothing here. It's hard for us to just say, okay, yeah, you know,
I think we do have,
there's nothing.
Then if it's a small lot and
Unless it's in one of
build
these.
a house, then you're.
I thought I had.
What's the legal description on it? Let me see. It is lot 24, block 3, Jocelyn.
They didn't, very good.
Block 3.
24,
It's just the one lot.
Would y'all like to recess for a moment to get a copy of that? Mr. Molina?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to table the agenda item.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, yeah.
Oh,
It's all right.
Yeah, I think we can table it too.
You need to call for a vote.
so we have a motion to table this agenda item, council. All in favor to table this item and bring it back at a later meeting?
Let's bring it back to the next meeting.
Okay, okay.
Look at it.
Until we see them out.
So all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Motion to table passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 6.6, discuss, consider, and act upon authorizing the submittal to Texas Water Development Board, a project information form for state's fiscal year 2024 drinking water state revolving fund, DWSRF, lead service line replacement program LSLR. Who's presenting this?
Okay, I am on this.
You are?
Yeah. Looks like it, right?
Okay.
Earn your money.
We've been working on this for a while. This is, so, on Friday, we did get a notification I should back up. We applied for a $755,000 grant for this project. It's an EPA required project, going through the Texas Water Development Board, which is a drinking water service line, a replacement inventory, and we talked about that a couple of meetings ago. And we got notification that we didn't get this grant, and so we're gonna apply again. That's why this was on the agenda. And we had already finalized the agenda, and on Friday late, we got a notification that we did get approval of $755,000. But since the first PIF, we made some changes, so we're contracting with a third party. Instead of doing some of the work ourselves, we took out some purchasing of a hydro excavator and a truck, pushed that over to a third party to help us do the inventory. So we talked to TWDB and asked them if that was gonna be a problem. Since we had this on the agenda already, we could just do this again, but we got approval for that, and so now we know that on the application, we can make that modification. So we'll still be fine. So we're gonna actually ask for 870 on the application. But since this was already here, what I'd like to do, because is, have you guys approve, this, submittal again, and we're gonna submit the same dollar amount for the next round. So if we run into some lines that need to be replaced, then, and we get awarded this again, we can go ahead and change the application and subtract what we've already done. And that was also a recommendation from the TWDB as well.
Okay.
So that's what this is just y'all's approval to go out again for this.
Great.
So we're not revising this, the verbiage, right? So
No,
it's-
yeah, because one of the things is we're under, this is April 1st, deadline for the submittal.
Okay.
And so we don't want to make any changes. We'd rather, that's what we talked about with her as well, TWDB, is send it in, because, you'll still be in line for another round of funding if you need it. And if you don't, then you just,
Pass it.
don't apply, if
Got it.
we get an invitation.
Sounds good?
Okay.
Council, any other questions or discussion, Mr. Beltran,
We're good, thank you.
Mr. Modine,
I'm good, man. Thank you.
Mrs. Bowen,
No, thank you.
Mr. Garza?
Good, thank you.
Okay, if there's no further discussion or questions in reference to this agenda item, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, make a motion that we accept the agenda item as written.
Okay, is that acceptable, or do we need to read it out?
No, that's okay
That's
with
okay.
it, yes.
Okay, so we have a motion, okay, we have a first and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Robert?
Robert.
Mr. Molina. Okay. Motion passes, sorry. Okay, moving on to agenda item 6.7. Here's status report on February 2024 month and financial statements, summary of funds, and delivery of February 2024 check registers.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Hello.
Appreciate y'all having us here today.
Yes.
Here we are for the 5th month ending February 29th, 2024. General fund revenues are $5,670,101. Our property tax budget was $1,221,512. And year-to-date, we showed $2,330,841. Exhibit B is our M&O and INS 2024 of $3,715,747. So roughly 22,000 below previous year-to-date. Going back to Exhibit A, our sales tax was budgeted at $2,950,000, and we're showing $1,690,048 through December. Exhibit C, we have our sales tax budget versus actual, and this includes the month of January. January's collection was $505,127, and 2024 budget was $2,360,000, and we have an actual of $2,195,175. Exhibit D, we have our actual 2024 versus actual 2023, and we had a decrease of $256,958 from previous year. Exhibit E, we have our general fund expenditures. Year-to-date, we have expended $6,014,505, and at this point in the 5th month, we'd like to say we should be at just under 42% of budget. We're sitting at 42.45, so we're hovering around that. just some of our departments to talk about. Command Center, we're at 66%, and like the chief mentioned earlier, that was because of repairs to the radio towers and the equipment we did, so that was unforeseen. And then the Finance Department, we're sitting at 46%. That's because we made our quarterly payment to the appraisal district for collection and appraisal fees. So that's those departments. Exhibit F, our revenue versus expenditures for all funds. Our general fund, we show a negative 344,404. And just to remember, last month we were sitting at about $1 million. And so now you can see as property tax that time of year, they come in, it's a big swoop. So it's nothing to get worried about or anything, it's just that time of year. Solid waste, we're at a negative 312,980. We did have that additional 133,000 that we paid for the lease, the purchase of those two trucks, so that's something from previous year in addition. And our utility fund is a negative 645,197. Our final slide is just comparing this year to previous year. And again, you can see our general fund is a little healthier than it was last year. Solid waste, again, the difference would be the purchase of those two trucks. Something I would like to point out that we're seeing and we're kind of excited about is the golf course. You can see where our golf course previously was a negative 54,255, and we're in the positive. Jay's on track to have a pretty good month this month, so we like to see those improvements in the community. We're getting a lot of good feedback, so that's something we appreciate y'all's support. And those are our financials for February.
Council, any questions? Mr. Beltran?
I think we have the only golf course in the state of Texas making money.
Working that way.
No, we're good. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
work.
Mr. Molina?
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mrs. Bowen?
No, I think I'm good
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Garza?
for everything.
Well, okay, I'm curious on the check reports here, page 241. The first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are all telephone services.
I wanted to touch on that. You did bring up a line last year, and Jim and his team looked it up, and Chief can speak to this too, but it's basically, from my understanding, it's a line that we needed for 911 for rural, for people outside of the city limits and everything, and so it's something that they're looking into that we're hopefully going to be able to go away from. So I'm glad you did bring that up. We did start researching into it, so that was one of them that will drop off once we make those decisions.
It's an 800 number, actually, they went to PD, that nobody been using for years, apparently. I mean, we had some calls on it, but I think they were all low numbers.
So it was very minimal, so I appreciate that. That was good.
Hey, that's great.
Thank you.
So those little amounts do add up, huh?
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, we'll take them. Thank you.
Let's see here, I did have a couple more. You know how I am with the hiring of rental equipment. On page 243, the very top one, we've got a rental equipment, water for the PD at $91. What's?
My number in is different. I apologize. I don't have that same packet. Who was it? What? If you look at the bottom right, it's page something of 62.
Page 3.
Page
Page
3.
3. Okay, I apologize. I don't have the overall packet.
Oh, you're right.
No, well, if it's on page 3, I can put it there. Sorry. Equipment hires. Chief, can you help me on that?
Yes, I can.
That's Aqua Water?
So why the water?
9180, yes.
So we buy water for our officers?
Oh,
When
is-
they're patrolling, so we buy the
Pallets?
the pallet of water. I think fire department gets one, we get one, and so we utilize it for all of the officers, so they can have and they can have too.
Totally understand that. I was just asking because it, under the expenditures, it said equipment, rent, hiring, and all that. That's why.
Yeah, because I don't think it's the pallet.
I can go to the restroom.
The sink.
The dispenser.
The dispenser.
But we do also have a dispenser.
We'll clarify. We'll
Now
clarify
Patrick
on that
wants
one.
Now
I'm not
Patrick wants
against
one.
hydrating, please. I don't want anybody to think that. That'll work, thank you.
Thank you.
That's why it's under that category.
And on the same page, a little further down, we've got $2,385 in temp workers. But one thing I did notice about that, and as I was going through the rest of the budget, is there are different pages that have temp workers also. So is there a way that we could set it up where all temp workers or just one page?
Well, this is done because it's for the month. So if you see it, it's because it's weekly. So, or check runs. So if you see it multiple times, it's because basically there's 4 check runs in a month per se. So it's, you might see it 4 times. We'll try to check every 4 times. So, I mean, we could maybe look to see if there's a way to keep them redo it, reshuffle it or something. But that's the reason being is because it's basically by date, first run, then the next week. So you'll see a lot of the vendors multiple times because there's 4 check runs in a month.
I got you. But the temp workers, are these positions that we need to fulfill? Are they seasonal jobs? Are they?
Some of them are seasonal. For the most part, it's ones for the liens to do the mowing and such.
Oh, okay.
So yes, it'd be a lot easier for us to have that control.
Yes, I remember that now. Page 4 of 62 on your book here, under the Home Depot.
That's for repairs at the airport that we'll use ramp grant. We'll get reimbursed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Grant, that's the hangar, painting the hangar that is at the FPO.
Gotcha. So that explains, just because I thought this number was odd, it's 5 gallons of paint?
Yeah.
For $6,300?
Yeah.
Wow, ooh.
Special paint.
That's some special paint, okay.
No. It's
5
multiple
gallons.
5 gallons.
Oh, they're 5 gallon
Yeah,
jugs.
5 gallons.
Okay. It's not just one.
No.
Okay.
No, it's multiple.
All righty.
I was like, wait a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, but that is ramp grant, so that's
We'll be reimbursed.
It's reimbursable.
But does the paint job look good at least?
I know.
And what is InfoSend?
InfoSend is the company that sends out our billing.
Okay.
Utility bills. They're the ones that produce that.
Gotcha, so we got that. I'm assuming the mechanic liens are for the impound PD cars, so we can auction them off, or?
No, these are
No, those
depending on what they are. It could be for, it could be for the mowing or.
Most of them are mowing.
So they're called mechanic liens, but it's actually just a lien on the property, so.
Gotcha.
We can get reimbursed for the work that we've done to either clean up the property.
You have to
or-
file those. It's a file fee.
All right. No, I won't bring that one up.
He'll let the mayor do it.
Fire repair. I'm sure you got your reasons on that one. Michael J. Shildness, $30,000.
That's that's the
Our legal.
arbitration judge.
Oh, okay.
But that's half of that fee. The other party paid the other half.
Gotcha. Okay. Good, got that clear. Telephone services. Where are we at here? It would be 15 of 62 on your page. And it's Acme Auto Leasing. And we've got what seems to be 2 pickup trucks, F-150 crew cabs that we're renting in the amount of $647 for that pay section. How many fleet vehicles do we have that we are renting? And really, what is the purpose of using the truck or?
Well, this is more of a lease. It wouldn't be like a short-term rental. These are I can get a report for you because off the top, I don't know what we have as far as enterprise and throughout the different.
This one actually is through, kind of like a grant program, and they actually do reimburse us for that one officer to rent this, unit.
Okay, so it's a unit for the officer.
But we can get you a report on how many
Okay, please.
lease vehicles we have.
So let me interject on that. So those cars are reimbursed through the federal government.
Okay,
So yes, we pay them, but they reimburse us.
perfect. Again, on 19 of 62, we've got here where we've got employee risk management, extra help, in the tune of $16,000. Seasonal, need extra help,
19
low-end employees.
for 16.
Oh, and on the next page,
Oh, I was like, I didn't see that dollar amount.
admin and construction.
I'm sorry?
That's
It's a mixture.
Okay.
It's multiple. If you see that first line where it starts with the hundreds, the coding, that's for the codes. If you do the 550, that's utilities, so more of the streets. It's multiple departments.
That'll work. Mechanic liens, I know what those are. When we're paying for vehicle impounds, is that, like the PD impounding vehicles and stuff like that? Will we get
When they
reimbursed
do.
on that later also? Perfect. Where are we at here? 27 and 62, Texas Packer load cells. It's repairs to a Packer vehicle of $24,000.
That's for the sanitation department, so those are the garbage.
Yeah, it was a garbage truck. It had an axle.
An axle?
Yeah, it went in for, it didn't make it all the way to the shop. Initially, it was going for a break, and then I believe it got stuck on the side of the road. And so it turned into a major repair.
Yes, sir, I'd say so, 24,000. And forgive me, but, and I'm thinking, I know I had, here's, yeah, okay. I guess here's another stupid one. Page 31 of 62, Texas tag, toll tag charge. It's only $6, but who's paying toll tags?
It's a toll tag.
Like when you go through a highway toll? and
Oh, a
you do-
toll. I thought you said toe. I was like, what's a toll tag?
Forgive me.
Yeah, depending
Okay.
on who did it.
You go
Go through there.
Yeah,
You're going to Austin, you have to go through there. Mm-hmm.
I'm getting towards the end already, sorry. That one I won't mention. 39 of 62, Roger Lynn Ward for 6,000.
He's the one that, he's contract work for our security. So he used to be IT, and he works on all the contract work for keeping up our security.
All right. And on the same page, Trinidad Hustle, 5,347.
Same
For
page.
repair of, repairing lights on Highway 44? Okay, okay.
Repair lights.
Veronica Reina? 40 of 62, next page.
Oh, that was a refund for the Anderson.
Yeah, when they rent out, they put up a deposit, and we
Okay.
refunded the money
Refund them.
after the event.
And I believe that's going to be close to it. Okay, here's another. Okay, well, here's what I was talking about, the extra helps. Here's another one for extra help in the amount of 16,830.
So it'll just be like another week, same, more than,
Another the same.
right, pay period.
And 51 of 62, we've got Nueces Farm Center where we rented an excavator for
TxDOT, we
2
would.
months.
Yeah, we were doing the TxDOT project when we were running the water line, so that also was reimbursed by TxDOT.
Oh, okay,
On the
great.
water line project.
Great, there. Construction, okay, that's probably, and, see, this probably goes back to the, we've got page 53 of 62, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Sheldon Enterprise rental equipment truck,
That's for lease route, and I believe that's
Old wash.
sanitation vehicles.
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Washington, they're a little bit bigger, and I think
Where they
have
gotta
the
do it by
base
hand
for
and
it.
everything
Yeah,
else.
they have the base for it.
Understood, totally understood. Next page over, Martin Engineering Group for 14,000.
the Simmons Martin, that's
Yes.
the fire, department.
Yeah, cause it says repairs to a
What page
unit,
we on? Which one?
page 54, 62.
Patrick?
You had a unit go down that
Oh,
needed repairs?
repairs on 220, on, yeah.
26 is an engine, yeah.
$14,524.
We've had a bunch of trucks go down, I don't know which that one was, but it was, that was a major one, I think. Or was it a total?
$14,524.
It was Unit 226?
Yes.
Yeah, that's, can't remember off the top of my head, but the repairs, there were major repairs off of, one of our engines.
All righty, no, Chief.
Simmons is a specialty company that was just on fire trucks.
Okay. Well, you say it needed it, it needed it. And believe it or not, that's it. Thank you.
He answered some of the ones that I had questions on. You said InfoSend is for utility billing, the ones that. put it-
They're
send
the
out
actual
our-
ones that distribute the bills,
Our
because they
bills.
don't get mailed in-house, they go out from a third party.
That's for the 7,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We used to do it, from my understanding, the city used to do it in-house, but to staff it, to do it
Yeah,
out the
yeah.
time consuming. It's just-
And then, I did have a question, I don't know if Mr. Garza asked this one, but we did have several units, like repeatedly, throughout the month of February 2nd and the 28th for units 822, 829, 833, and I think it was 835, I think, for $37,740.
What page are you on, I'm sorry?
That one is, page 6 of 62.
They're different units. Yeah,
For what? Oh,
go ahead, I'm sorry. Oh, it's because of the timing of the invoices. They were outstanding invoices,
Oh,
and we were
okay.
we were catching up with them. So
Oh.
it wasn't
Like
in the
all-
shop
okay,
every day. It was also the engine. So we're catching up on some invoices.
Yeah, they didn't send us invoices.
Right, they didn't send us invoices for quite some time.
Okay.
So these repairs were done over an extended period.
okay. And the other thing, I know we're gonna be coming up on our, budget workshops and stuff, if we can revisit our leases, the copy machines, the internet service, because we see those and they're.
Right.
Those copy machines.
So just if there's something we can do on those, let me see, I think that was. I think a lot of these we already had answered, so, there is, I just wanted to ask on the GW monitoring and reporting, what is that for?
Groundwater monitoring at
The what?
the landfill. It's either groundwater monitoring at the landfill unless we're talking about AARC.
Is it AARC or what's
That
the
could be
vendor?
the garage or the air.
It's account number,
What page? What page? Which one?
2460 of 62.
It's of 62.
24?
24 of 62.
24 of 62.
It's 13,473 and the other one is 8,800.
Oh, it's Hanson. It's for that's a reporting, yeah, that's for, is it TCUQ? I'm sorry, I keep looking back and I'm thinking Mr.
And that
President, I apologize.
happens
Yeah,
every
it-
so often or just?
Right, yes,
like,
ma'am.
How often?
is it
You don't-
quarterly?
Yeah, I mean, we do quarterly monitoring. I don't know if that's one or multiple, but,
Okay,
I know we're gonna be going out,
For bids?
an RFQ for that service here pretty soon.
okay. I think that was it. I'll just have those.
Yes?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7, executive session. In accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D, the city council will now recess into executive session, closed meeting to discuss the following. The city council may enter into closed or executive session to discuss the following pursuant to consultation with its attorney, Texas Government Code and subsection 551.071, and discussions about the value or transfer of real property, Texas Government Code and subsection 551.072. 7.1, discussion regarding the sales, I'm sorry. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Do I have to do that one? Yeah, I do, right. 7.1, discussion regarding the sales and/or lease and or land exchange between the City of Alice and Alice Independent School District. Okay, it is 4:56 PM. We will recess to go into executive session.
the thoughts he's having.
Oh. Be careful,
Okay,
Michael.
we're back. Return to open session and take any action necessary as a result of discussions in preceding agenda item number 7.1 pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consultation with its attorney, and pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 552.072, discussions about the value or transfer of real estate property. I'm out of breath.
Mayor, make a motion, take no action.
Okay,
Motion?
Second.
okay. We have a first and a second to take no action on agenda item number 8. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 9, adjournment.
Mayor, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you so